So in today's video, I'm going to be previewing Bradford City versus Tranmere Rovers, and then the second part of today's video, I'm going to bring you guys my Game Week 40 League 2 score predictions. If you do go on to enjoy, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try to 80 likes on today's video, that'd be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We're now on the road to 9,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed. If you haven't already, with that post notification bell on, it's free to do so, and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts in as well down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below your score prediction for this match. What would your starting 11 be as well? Would you make any changes from Saturday's 3-0 defeat against Harrogate Town on a really poor run of form at this moment in time? We're currently sat 9 points off the playoffs, having played a game more. I think it's pretty realistic to say we're not even going to finish in the top half this season, never mind the playoffs. Our form of the last 4 matches has completely killed any chances of that. We have been terrible for a number of matches now, and there is obviously a planned protest for this game before the fixture. I think the meet time is 1:30 starting at 2 o'clock, so I'll be interested to see how that does go down. But make sure to drop a like on there for me, subscribe if you're new as well, and let's get into it. Channel memberships are now cheaper than ever, with Tier 1 costing just 99p. Tier 2 has been reduced from $3.99 a month down to $1.99 a month, and Tier 3 has been reduced from $8.99 a month down to just $4.99 a month. Your support, as always, is massively appreciated, and the more members that we have, the better the content will be. Enjoy the rest of the video. If we start out then with how both sides have got on so far this season, my team Bradford City, we currently sit 17th in the table. After 39 matches, we've got 13 wins, 11 draws and 15 defeats, scoring 46 goals and conceding at 53, which leaves us on a -7 goal difference and 50 points. Our last couple of matches then have been a loss, a loss, a loss, a loss and a win. Them last couple of matches then been a 3-0 defeat away to Harrogate Town, a 3-0 defeat at home to Notts County, a 5-1 defeat at home to Mansfield Town, a 2-0 defeat at home to Forest Green Rovers, and a 3-0 win away at Accrington Stanley. In terms of our last 4 matches though, we have conceded I think 13 goals and only scored the 1. That is simply unacceptable, and yeah, absolutely not good enough. Compared then to Tranmere Rovers, they currently sit 15th in the table. After 40 matches, they've got 15 wins, only the 5 draws and 20 defeats, scoring 59 goals and also conceding at 57, which leaves them on a positive 2 goal difference and 50 points. Their last couple of matches then have been a loss, a win, a draw and a win. Them last couple of matches then been a 3-1 defeat at home to Crawley Town, a 1-0 win away at Wrexham AFC, a 2-1 win at home to Mansfield Town, a 1-0 draw away at Gillingham, and a 1-0 win at home to Sutton United. Since Nigel Adkins has gone in there, he has completely turned that club around, if I'm honest with you. I think they would be like 4th or 3rd in the table if obviously the season would have started when Adkins did come in. In terms of the reverse fixture, they did beat us 2-1 back on the 3rd of October. Mike Hughes' final game as manager for Bradford City. That game feels like an absolute eternity ago. Harry Lewis saved a penalty in that one, but Regan Hendry and Kieran Morris both scoring either side of Andy Cook's equaliser on the 55th minute, and unfortunately we came away from that game with a defeat, and our season hasn't really kick-started since then. But now we're going to get into the team that I would go with if I was Graham Alexander. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, when we've lost 4 games on the bounce, this was a really hard team selection to pick because so many players have been absolutely awful recently. So my reasoning for a lot of these players is basically going to be, well, he's kind of a best of a horrendous bunch, if I'm honest with you. In terms of my formation, I have gone with the 4-2-3-1. I don't think Jonathan Tompkinson is going to be back with the squad until tomorrow, which is a little bit of a concern for me. So you're looking at the centre halves we've got available. You're looking at Matty Platt, Kieran Kelly, JT might be able to, obviously he played quite a lengthy period for USA's under-23s, I think it was the other day. I'm pretty sure I actually played the full 90s, so there's question marks over maybe his match fitness, and obviously Sam Stubbs, you don't really know what's going on with him. It turns out he's got a fractured skull, which is obviously unideal, and Ash Taylor looks like he's still injured with his calf. So I've gone with the 4-2-3-1 just because I don't want to be playing square pegs in round holes. In goal, I've gone with Sam Walker, one of the few players to come away from the last couple of matches with any real credit, if I'm honest with you. He has made some really good saves in that time, and you look at conceding 13 goals, a lot of people might blame the goalkeeper, but he stopped it from being 20, 30. He has been, I wouldn't say excellent, but he's been good, and I would say certainly has been an improvement on Harry Lewis, especially this season, so I've gone with him in between the sticks. Into my back 4 then, at right back, I've gone with Brad Halliday. This is one of them positions where recently it kind of has to be Halliday because he's better than Oyegoke. Not really because Halliday does deserve it, but so many players are in the same category. Gave away a penalty last weekend against Harrogate. I don't really have many complaints with that, if I'm honest with you. It is a penalty. It's harsh on Halliday. There's not a lot he can really do about it, but he clearly stops the Harrogate player from progressing with the ball by using his hands, so therefore it is a spot kick. Recently, Halliday has been pretty poor, but he's still a million times better than Oyegoke, so I've gone with Brad Halliday at right back. In terms of my two centre-halves, then we mentioned it briefly earlier, I've gone with Matty Platt first on that right side. I thought he had a pretty steady away game against Harrogate. Dealt with Josh Marsh for the large part very well. Obviously, yes, he scores, but that's completely Oyegoke's fault once that cross does come into the box. So for me personally, I'd start Matty Platt at right centre-back, build up his match fitness and all that sort of stuff, as he has obviously been a very good player for us so far this season. Out of a contract in the summer, no option in the club's favour to extend by any further period of time, so hopefully we can tie him down to a new contract. I do think he has been very important for us this season. And partnering him, I've gone with Kieran Kelly. Again, no real other options there. I don't think Kelly was too bad against Harrogate. I was surprised to hear Alexander come out and say Kelly had been poor in the matches prior to that, which is why he dropped him to play Oyegoke and Rideout there, two fullbacks. Didn't really make sense to me because I think Kelly has been good for the large part under Alexander. Yes, he's made mistakes like the Notts County third goal, he gets spun far too easily, but I thought against Mansfield on the whole he had a pretty solid game. Against Harrogate, don't think he did too bad, so I'd like to see him get the start in this one. And at left back, I've gone with Lewis Richards, but I don't really know who to pick there because Liam Rideout is nowhere near good enough. Lewis Richards' form of the last couple of matches has been poor, and also his work rate I think has been poor. I think the way that he just not refuses, but he just didn't work hard enough to try and stop that first goal from Harrogate, especially the cross coming into the box. I was really disappointed with him from that point of view. He's crossing into the box going forward. He's always really, really poor. It's been a massive letdown for him so far this season, but I've gone with him because you think into the future, you know, Lewis Richards, very young player, we've paid money for him. Liam Rideout hopefully we'll be moving on in the summer, so that's why I've gone with him at left back. And in terms of my two central midfielders then, now Graham Alexander mentioned in his pre-match interview that there are a number of players who are going for scans and all that sort of stuff on injuries, so I don't know specifically who is available. Obviously we know Gilead certainly will be out for this weekend. He might be back for, who do we play next week? Maybe the Gillingham game potentially. Obviously probably won't make Monday's game against Grimsby. It sounded like Kevin McDonald, you know, putting two and two together, came off with, I think it was a slight calf strain against Harrogate, so putting two and two together, I would assume that he's going to be out and unavailable. So we've only really got one natural fit central midfielder available at this moment in time, and that is obviously Richie Smallwood. Now, I know he gets a lot of pelters off of our fan base, but he's the captain and we don't have any other options to go there, so he kind of is going to have to start in this one. And partnering him, I've gone with Noah Wadsworth. I feel like off the bench against Harrogate, he looked good. Yes, he was only on the pitch for 10-15 minutes, whatever it was, but I was impressed with what I saw. Kept the ball very well, you know, played some nice progressive passes. I mentioned it in the 6 things we learned. It's great to see our own academy players getting the opportunity now in the first team, and that's what we want to see between now and the end of the season. These younger players who are going to be here for the future, getting minutes, getting opportunities, because the season's done, so you might as well give them a first team game time and exposure to that. And I feel like Wadsworth was really good off the bench against Harrogate, so I like to see him start in central midfield. As the right winger, I've gone with Bobby Poynton, someone who you know, while at times could potentially lack the quality like what a lot of our forward players do, but you know he's always going to give 110%, you know he's going to work hard, and I feel like after the performances recently, it would be smart for Alexander to pick Poynton, because there's so many fans questioning Alexander's treatment of these younger players, giving the Bradford fan in Bobby Poynton a go, and you know someone who's going to give it their absolute all. It's going to get the few fans who will be in attendance of the game at the weekend. Well, at the weekend, does Friday count as the weekend? It's a bank holiday, so we'll say it does. Give them a little bit of something to get behind, and I'd like to see Poynton start as that right winger. And I'm not just giving him an opportunity as a token gesture because he's a Bradford fan, because he's, well, I was about to say 20,000 other people who could do that, but probably on Friday, about 5,000 who could do that. But he's also a very good player. He's shown lots of quality so far this season. Yes, he didn't really do much against Harrogate, but who really did? And I feel like certain players were trying a little bit too hard. Same with Adam Wilson, and that's why I haven't gone with him to start in this one. But I like to see Poynton start as my right winger. As my attacking midfielder, I've gone with Jamie Walker. Again, similar to Poynton, someone who hasn't quite been performing recently, but you know he's going to give 110%. And while I have been pretty underwhelmed with Walker's performances, he does work hard, and he was playing slightly out of position against Harrogate as a right winger. I don't really know why we shoehorned him into that position when it doesn't really suit him, if I'm honest with you. And Walker, I feel like, again, doesn't really have much competition for that place, and we know that he can on his day be a very good player. We just haven't seen it this calendar year, so fingers crossed he can get an opportunity in this one, and hopefully he does take it. As my left winger, this was a really hard position to pick because no one's really grasped the opportunity to take it. I've gone with Harry Chapman. Like I say, no one's really stood out recently. Tyreek Wright, I think, has been poor. Wilson, I thought, was trying too hard against Harrogate. Odwa hasn't done much for a number of weeks. Jake Young, obviously injured at this moment in time. Callum Kavanagh didn't play for Republic of Ireland under 21s, which is very frustrating because he was called up and didn't play a single second of football. So yeah, very disappointing, but I like to see Chapman get a start as that left winger. Again, similar to Walker, on his day can be a very good player at this level, and hopefully he can create some magic in this one. And as my striker, I've gone with Andy Cook. The only real option we've got at this moment in time, Tyler Smith, not good enough for me. Andy Cook, hopefully he can get 20 goals between now and the end of the season. Loves a goal against his former side as well. The last time he played against his former side, he was dropped down to the bench. So hopefully no lineup roulette with Graham Alexander this time around. On the bench then for me, that I'd leave Colin Doyle, Jonathan Tompkinson, Kevin McDonald, who, like I said, I don't know if he is fit, don't know if he's going to be available, but I've put him on the bench anyway. Clark Adore, Adam Wilson, Callum Kavanagh and Tyler Smith. The players currently unavailable are Ash Taylor, Sam Stubbs, Alex Gilliard, Alex Patterson and Jake Young. So the players who miss out then through selection will be Daniel Igoke, Liam Rideout, Tyreek Wright and Matt Derbyshire. Now then we're going to get into my Game Week 40 League 2 score predictions. Starting out then with AFC Wimbledon versus Harrogate Town. I'm backing the home side at 4-2-0 win. Accrington Stanley versus Morecambe FC. I'm backing the Shrimps at 4-3-1 win. Barrow AFC versus Grimsby Town. I'm pretty sure I predict this result every time Barrow play at home. I'm backing the Bluebirds at 4-2-0 win. Bradford City versus Tranmere Rovers. I'm backing the away side at 4-3-0 win for Tranmere, 3-0 defeat for Bradford, whatever you want to call it. Colchester United versus Newport County, I think finishes in a 1-1 draw. Crawley Town versus Doncaster Rovers, I think finishes in a 2-2 draw. Forest Green Rovers versus Stockport County. Stockport demolishing MK Dons the other day. I think it's going to be the complete opposite in this one. I'm backing the home side for a scrappy 1-0 win. Gillingham FC versus Crewe Alexandra. I'm backing the Gills 4-2-1 win. MK Dons versus Walsall FC. I'm backing the Saddlers 4-2-0 win. Salford City versus Sutton United. I'm backing the home side at 4-2-0 win. Swindon Town versus Notts County. I'm backing the away side at 4-3-2 win. And finally, the big one, Wrexham AFC versus Mansfield Town. I personally think if Mansfield win this, they will go on and win the title, but I am backing the home side though, 4-2-1 win. I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me. If you could try and hit 80 likes, as I said at the start of today's video, that would be massively appreciated. Subscribe if you're new as well. We're on the road to 9,000 subscribers, so please make sure you are subscribed if you haven't already, with that post notification bell on. It's free to do so, and it does massively help out. Get your thoughts in as well down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below your score prediction for this match. What would your starting 11 be as well? Would you make any changes from Saturday's 3-0 defeat against Harrogate Town? Thank you all for watching, and thank you all very much for the support on the new series. Make sure to go check it out if you haven't already. EFL tic-tac-toe, like knots and crosses basically, so go check that one out if you haven't already. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you very soon for another one. Peace.